know that looking back over this lighting choice that I'm probably going to be very upset with myself when I go back to edit this video. But I should be upset at myself for the way that I've edited my last few videos because it seems like somehow when I'm editing in Canva, things start to loop themselves again on the video. So I'll have a clip that I've done and think that I've edited and everything is fine. But then when I go to play it, it's like it's in a loop. And so it'll end the clip, but then it'll start over. So I apologize to you in advance because I am going to make sure that moving forward that my videos don't loop like that because I don't know what's going on there. And um I just wanted to get on here really quick and just talk about how this process has been going for me in November. And if you've watched my last 3 videos, you know that it hasn't really been going that well. I went through the first 5 chapters, which when I look back on it, like I can sit here and I can beat up on myself and you can be looking at me like, "Nadia, how did you only do only edit and revise 5 chapters?" Well, here's the answer. The answer is as I think I did more of a line edit on each of those chapters, and what I really needed to be looking at was more of the structure, the plot, the story, the characters. I think I have found the voice for the characters, so that I'm not so concerned about. But I do need to make sure that when I am writing moving forward, that I am also focused on the environment of my characters. Um, it's not as bad for me as I know that we have this thing in the writing community called white box syndrome, where it's like you have your characters talking, but there's no description of their environment. There's nothing there to help you get into their environment. But I don't think it's as bad as them just talking in a white box. But I do feel like I could be more descriptive. I could find ways to show and not tell. And so I unfortunately am going to go back over those first 5 chapters again. Does this seem redundant? Yes. Do I think that it'll be worth it in the end for the alpha reader that I plan on giving my book to? Yes. So yes, once again, I know you guys are probably tired of me showing up in my bonnet at nighttime, but I write at nighttime most of the time now because, of course, I'm working during the day and I don't have a job anymore where I have the flexibility of being at home. I have a job now where I'm out in the office, I will say, for 3 days a week, and then the rest of the week I'm working my food delivery job. So, um, life has been kind of hectic and chaotic. And what I've realized in November is that I have to be a little more patient with myself about everything. I feel like sometimes I have these unrealistic expectations and of myself in this stage of my life where I am sometimes completely exhausted and I don't even have the energy to pour into my creative writing. But I'm realizing in December I want to be more gentle. I want to be more gentle. I also want to be more patient with myself. I want to go slowly with this draft of this book because this is the draft of the book that someone is actually going to be reading. So I want it to be at least at the best that it can be for now until I get feedback from my alpha reader. And then I will go in and I will edit based off of their feedback, and then I will do go into the fourth draft, and hopefully I am praying once I finish the fourth draft, I will be able to send it out to beta readers. And then once I go into the fifth draft, which will be their from their feedback, then I will be able to publish this book in 2026. So I have at least I think that's about 3 more revisions that I want to do on this book, or 2 more. before I'm ready to publish it. And so I just want to make sure that going into this next revision that I'm really trying to bulk it up and add to it and take out the scenes that are not needed and rearrange things and really, really begin to form this book in the way that I want it to appear to an audience. So tonight I'm going to start with chapter one. I'm going to try to get through chapter one. And what I'm going to try to do is work on a chapter a night this week. So, wish me luck. Now that Novel November is over, now that the Rough Draft Challenge is over on Sarah Cannon's channel, now that all the challenges of November are over, let's see what we can do in December. December is a new month. It's December 1st. It's Monday. Let's start with chapter one. Let's go. Hey Siri, not Siri. Hey Google, set a timer for 25 minutes.
All right, 25 minutes. Starting now.
Hey Google, set a timer for 25 minutes.
Okay, 25 minutes. Starting now.
So let's talk about romanticizing our writing. For me, that doesn't simply mean what it used to mean, which was, I think when I first started writing, I believed that writing was going to be this magical thing that transformed my life and that I was going to write one book and it was going to catapult me into the stratosphere of success. What I mean by romanticizing now is I want to show up every time when I sit down in front of my computer as my best self. And I realize that every day my best is not going to be the same. But as long as I sit down every time and I put the words on the page that are the best words for that day, even if I have to go back and revise them, then that to me is enough. That is romanticizing my writing, making it feel like I'm dating my writing, which I know it sounds so weird to say something like dating your writing, but truly, I want to feel like I'm showing up as my best self. When you're dating someone, you show up as your best self. And hopefully, if you are, if you're good at dating, you continue to show up as your best self. But again, it's not about being perfect, but it is about giving it your best every single time that you sit down in front of your computer. Or if you sit down to write freehand, it's the same thing. However you're showing up for your writing, always show up with your putting your best foot forward. So that's what I plan on doing moving forward. So, this week for me has been about building consistency because I am not the best. As you know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, that I am not the best at consistency in terms of posting content or writing or anything that is going to move the needle for me, I am adverse to that. So, anyway, this week I find that I've been working on consistency. So, I'm trying to write every day, every weekday this week to move the story forward. Now, I did say that I wanted to have 5 chapters edited by the end of this week, the first 5 chapters. I don't think that's going to happen. I have to be realistic about my energy level this week, and I just have to give myself a little more grace than what I have been giving myself. So, my plan tonight is to work on another scene from Unseen in chapter 2, and to get it to a point where I feel like it's in a good place, because again, I'm trying to prepare this book for an alpha reader, and I want to make sure that once I hand this book off to my alpha reader, that I feel like it's in good shape. The other thing that I want to share with you later, probably after I get done with my writing session, is my favorite line from chapter 1. Just to kind of give you a bit of a teaser of what's to come in this book. So, anyway, for now, let's get to the writing. Let's do what we got to do. Let's create that consistency. Here we go. So, as promised, I am going to read you my favorite line. Since I have locked in chapter 1, I'm going to read you my favorite line from chapter 1. So, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Still, I'm a PK through and through. So when life throws me lemons, I get down on my knees and pray for lemonade. Just one line, just a small little teaser. I love that line. And I love that line because she's basically in that whole paragraph before that. She's talking about how she's been coming to the church where her mother is singing, and remember this, her mom, she hasn't seen her mom since she was like 6 years old, and so she's come to this church faithfully for 5 years, thinking that she's going to eventually introduce herself to her mother. And she's saying in this, she talks about before this how she doesn't know if God will even hear her prayers, because she's praying, 1, that she'll meet her mother, and 2, that her friend that has mysteriously fallen off the face of the earth will reappear. And she feels like because she's a sex worker and because she's done all this kind of like had all this deviant behavior going on, that God couldn't possibly hear her. So that line is the final line in that paragraph, and I love it so much. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, and I think I am going to call it a night for tonight. So thanks for listening. Yes, I know it's cliche. Progress, not perfection. How many times have we heard that? I know that I've heard it a lot, but when I talk about it, I truly, truly live it because there are some days where it is harder for me to make progress in a project because of my mental state or because I may not be in a place, life wise, where I can give of myself as creatively as I would like to. So when I say progress, not perfection, I truly mean that. I mean, when you are not able to tap into the vast well of creativity like some of the other author tubers that I see and that you probably see, the best thing for you to do is to give yourself some grace and to do what you can, even if it's just for 5 minutes a day. Because there have been times where I have only been able to write for 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes. And I've had to put the project away and then do again 5 minutes the next day and 5 minutes the next day. It is not ideal, but when you take into account that not everybody works under the same mental state, no, people don't work under the same life circumstances, then it makes sense. You have to adjust your writing life to what makes sense for you. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It only has to make sense to you. So I want to leave you with that little nugget of progress, not perfection. Hello, loves. It's Friday and it is the final day this week and the final scene in chapter two. And it has been a lot. Um, it's just hard sometimes because no matter what we do, life is always lifing, life is always changing, life is always throwing things at us. And sometimes, like tonight, I wanted to just throw in the towel. But I came on, number one, because I'm getting ready to write, and number two, because I wanted to encourage you, because I think that someone out there needs to hear this, because I did. And I watched so many different creators and people on YouTube who have it feels like they have so much more get up and go than I do. And it makes me feel inadequate. It makes me feel like I may not be built for just not only writing life, but just life in general, because I feel like I just get overwhelmed so easily and so quickly. But what I want to say to you, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like every time you make some forward movement, there you take like 10 steps back, I want you to know that there is going to be a future version of yourself that is going to thank you for pushing through the slog and the slush of it all to get to the end of your story. I am still enjoying this story so much, so it's not about the story, it's not about the writing itself per se. It's just sometimes life just beats you down and you just feel overwhelmed, and that's how I'm feeling tonight. But I'm so grateful for YouTube and creators in AuthorTube and in BookTube that keep me constantly inspired to keep going. You and for the sake of not name dropping anybody, I just want to thank you because you'll never know who you are. Because I watch channels a lot of the times and watch, and I don't really comment, but I will always like videos for the people that I really enjoy watching their videos. And I just want you to know that I thank you so much for being a part of this community and for pushing me and others to just keep going and to never give up on themselves. So I just thought I would get on real quick and say that before I started writing and finished out this final scene. I'm actually really proud of myself this week because I did get through 2 chapters with the time that I was allotted. And so now I'm just hoping that next week I can get through 2 more chapters and perhaps maybe 3. So anyway, let's get to the writing. And thank you so much for listening to my TED Talk. Bye for now. So, this brings us to my next tip on what I do when I am in a depressive state. The biggest thing for me lately, and probably for the past year, has been to drink plenty of water. You need to be drinking your water, ladies and gentlemen. I used to not consume enough, and my body suffered for it. But what I found is that my moods have improved, my skin has improved. So many aspects of my life have improved just simply by drinking enough water. So please pick up one of these, take a sip, take several sips, drink a lot of it, and feel better. That's my tip. So, how did my week go? Slash, let me give you a check in. So, as you probably realized, I only edited 2 chapters this week. Edited and revised 2 chapters this week. I got to the end of chapter 2 on Friday. And next week I will be sharing with you either a line or or my favorite paragraph from chapter 2. Just to keep things interesting because I want you guys to be interested in my story. So anyway, how did this week go? Let's come back to that. So this week, let's just say that this revising and editing process does not move as fast as I would like it to because when I look back over my projects overall, I realize that I do have to go through several drafts before I'm comfortable putting it out into the world. And as a indie published author, I feel like it's more important for us now more than ever with AI and all the other things that are trying to bombard the market that we put out the best product possible. So for me, my hope is that this draft is going to be my alpha draft. Well, it is going to be my alpha draft. So I'm trying to clean it up as much as possible. Um, It actually is going pretty well. I did realize that there are a few things that I want to fix in the first 2 chapters. But I'm not going to worry about those now. I'm just going to make note of that and I'm going to go back in the next edit and make sure that I address those things that I know are going to be a problem. So, honestly, I have to say that I'm proud of myself this week because I was consistent. I wrote all 5 days of the weekdays, all 5 weekdays, and I, well, wrote and revised and did what I was supposed to do. So I felt really, really proud of myself for that. I, however, am not as satisfied with the progress that I made, only doing 2 chapters. So I'm hoping that in the coming weeks that I will be able to do more, but I'm not going to force it. I know about the time that I want to publish this book next year, and I have plenty of time. And so I just need to take my time, and I really need to make this book the best that it can be. So, anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Um, Thank you so much for watching. If you watched until the end, I appreciate you so much. I found that I love the author tubers that I watch that leave everyone with a question. So, my question for you this week is, what do you do when you are feeling sad or uncertain, or the imposter syndrome starts to kick in? Share that with me. Share it with our community that we're trying to build here. And hopefully we can help each other. Anyway, until next time, take care of yourself and make sure that you're taking care of those you love and care about and your community around you. Have a great rest of your week. Bye for now.